everybody, it's Erin the Hiking Stitcher. Today is December 2nd, 2025, and welcome to Flosstube number 23. In this episode, we're going to discuss my November updates, my stitching, and the haul that I got in November, and we're going to talk about December plans. So if you are new here, welcome to my little corner of YouTube, where I talk about my stitching, my hiking, or anything else that I just feel like talking about. And if you are returning, welcome back. I'm glad you liked what you see enough to come back and check it out again. So let's get going, shall we? So November, I did not have any new starts, nor did I have any finishes. So it was a quiet month on that. I just had 10 whips that I worked on, but I did get a lot of haul. So let's start with the haul first, shall we? So the first thing, without any further ado, is going to be an unboxing from the Black Needle Society. So this was their November box with the theme of Thankful Hearts. So these subscription boxes come every other month or so, and you can go to the Black Needle Society to sign up for a subscription, and the contents of this box will go on sale in the vault, any extras that they have. I think they said in January, because they're going to take December off. A well-earned rest, if you ask me. So let's go see what they gave us. So in here, we have our spoiler card that tells us that this was Thankful Hearts. And it tells us all about all the goodies and what's coming up next. So March's is going to be Stitching Dangerously. And it kind of looks like a Wednesday Addams themed one. So let me kind of pull everything out here. So the first thing I pulled out when I opened it are these beautiful fingerless gloves. And I absolutely love these. I'm going to keep them on now because they are super, super warm. Get it on here. So these gloves, let's see. These were curated by the Black Needle Society, and it says, "Our hearts may be warm at this time of the year, but our hands certainly are not. Keep warm while stitching with these fingerless gloves." So absolutely. And then another thing that we got, shut that down here, was this really neat pendant that doesn't really have anything in it yet. But the Black Needle Society also gave a very, very cute little pattern. It is a very quick thing to stitch up and finish off and put into the pendant. So this pendant, let's see. It says it's actually a heart-rimmed wooden cabochon tray. This tray is perfect for finishing a mini piece of stitching into an ornament or a pendant. So they included this as an option to stitch and finish into this. So here you go. So that'll be a really, really cute finish. And then in this tin, which now this will double as a great needle minder tin, we got these absolutely adorable pair of snips. Just tiny enough that these will go into my stitching bag and travel. TSA should have no problem with these, no matter where you go. And then it also is holding the Queen of Hearts needle minder together that we got. So it'll be a great little needle minder tray for traveling. And then in the box, I already took it out, I got this beautiful project bag that says, "Only do what your heart tells you to," from Princess Diana. And so this was designed by the Black Needle Society. And they said, when we came across this quote from Princess Diana, we knew we had to share it on this month's project bag. We love the idea of leading with your heart, and we hope this bag inspires you throughout the new year. So I'm already using it to hold a couple things. Because in the box, we also got 3 skeins of beautiful Forbidden Fiber Co. floss that is called Heart Overflowing, and is this gorgeous purple color. And they are the called for threads for the pattern that came in this box. This is Grateful Praise, and it is part of her sampler series that she has used in the past. This is her band sampler. I think she said it was her 6th band sampler. So with this pattern, what'd she say here? Sorry. Brain fart. It's designed by Heartstring Sampler, and they said, we are extremely excited to include this sampler in our November box. We love Beth's band sampler series. If you love this style too, they'd recommend checking out her My Funny Valentine. I also like her Peace Train one. But then Leanne from Forbidden Fiber Co. collaborated with Beth to create this custom color for the pattern that's in the box. So the model actually calls for 1 strand, but they actually included enough to complete the piece with 2 strands if you want. So I'm gonna have to go dig into my stash to see if I have a piece that would work well for this. So this is Grateful Praise pattern and floss that is now living in here. And the last thing that was in the box has actually already gone up in the cupboard. So I'll tell you about it and insert a picture here. It is the Thankful Heart Travel Tumbler designed by the Black Needle Society. Keep warm this winter with a hot beverage on the go, featuring a song from A Muppet Christmas Carol. The song actually inspired the whole theme for the box. And so since it is Christmas Carol season, I can't wait to watch A Muppet Christmas Carol. So that was my biggest piece of haul, was everything in this amazing subscription box. So if you like what you see, you can go to the Black Needle Society and either sign up for their subscription or check out their vault, where they once a month they release items from previous boxes. And a few friends actually have a discount code, so I'll drop those in the description below. But since we're on the theme of the Black Needle Society, I also got this month's snail mail pattern. And this month, so in these, we always get the QR code for the pattern, which I'm not going to show you, but this is this month's snail. It's a fox. And then it comes with all the floss we need to stitch up the fox. So I'm adding that to my pile. I have sadly fallen behind on getting my snails stitched. So 2026 is going to be, when I finish one snail, start another. So I'm just kind of keep it going and just see how many snails I can get. So that's my Black Needle Society haul, and I always get a lot from them. But I also got some haul from a local vendor. So I have been following Capital Stitch Co. on Instagram and Threads for a while now, and I finally got a chance to meet her at the downtown DC holiday market in DC. So what she does is designs and kits up her own patterns and then sells them through her website and her shop. And then in DC she has classes and things like that, and I just haven't had a chance to get up there. But when I was in DC and I was at the holiday market, I said I need to go meet her. So I did. Hi, and I told her I would give her a big shout out on Flosstube. And of course I couldn't leave without buying some things. So I bought my very first embroidery kit, and this is Virginia because that's where I live. So she designed this and then she kitted it up with everything that I'll need to stitch this, including step-by-step easy instructions on how to make this gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. And since I've never done embroidery, this will be a new experience for me. And if you like this, she also has a DC and a Maryland one available as well. So I said I'll link her website in the description below, and I hope you guys go check her out. And then I couldn't resist this one. I'm a sucker for local cross stitch, and so she designed this one to mimic the cherry blossoms. And this is actually supposed to be a beginner kit, so if somebody's never cross stitched before, this would be a perfect kit. So once again, she includes the skein and the fabric and everything you need. So I can't wait to either pass this on to somebody who is looking to learn to cross stitch or stitch it up myself, who knows. But I can't wait to see her again and get more amazing patterns. So definitely check out Capital Stitch Co. if you haven't already. And then my final piece of haul is from a shop owner that I met at Steel City in 2024. I got to sit with Carla of Cobweb Corner and get to know her a little bit. Well, she is closing down her online shop, and so had thrown out some discounts for people shopping. So I'm like, I have to support her one more time. So I ended up picking up a year at Hawk Run Hollow. And kind of zoom in with the plastic there so you can see it a little bit better. So this is one that is going to go far back in my rotation because I'm currently working on Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. And I honestly don't know if I can manage 2 Hawk Run Hollows at the same time. But I also am debating, because what I'm going to do is I will chart each one of these squares into Pattern Keeper like I did with the Christmas one. And I haven't decided yet if I'll do it all as one, which is gorgeous and beautiful and the way it's supposed to be, or if I'll do each square separately and then maybe change out like a calendar type thing. So haven't decided yet, but I wanted to make sure I supported her. So I will, again, go ahead and link Carla's shop in the description below and see what so you guys can go check out and see what she still has left. And she is really, really great about responding to questions and shipping out immediately, things like that. So that was the haul. And I'm trying to do a no-buy next year, so we'll see how that goes, because sometimes you just can't resist. But so that was the haul. So let's flip over to my works in progress that I had. So as I said, I worked on 10 projects, and well, I worked on 10 and I UFO'd 1. So technically I worked on 11, but I UFO'd 1. So let me start with the UFO, because this is one that I really, sorry about the itch. I really did not want to FFO or UFO. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of realized I had no choice. So this was the Peppermint Purple Stitch Along from 2025. So let me show you how far I got on it. So this is as far as I got on it in 2025. And the reason I need to FFO it, okay? So this is supposed to be a square, so all of these fit. Well, when I was working through these squares here, you can see where my thread still is, I realized that they weren't fitting as I counted them. So I worked, tried to figure out what I had done wrong. And it turns out that way back last December when I was doing the frame, this and this are 1 stitch off. So while these right here fit perfectly, these were 1 stitch off. So zoom in, you can see the glory of it, because it's going to get ripped out here in a few. And because this is just about over and I was behind anyway, when I realized that it was the border and not the inside squares that I'd messed up on, I was like, freaking heck. Well, I didn't say that, but don't want to get a YouTube strike for major cursing. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do the 2026 Peppermint Purple cell with the same color scheme. So I'm going to use black Aida. I believe this is 14 count Aida, and then I used silver Krynic, and so I still have a lot of silver Krynic, and I'll see how much of this I could salvage for the outline. And then I was doing the fill-in with Threadworks Bradley's balloons. So I love how the colors are coming out. But I've learned my lesson this time around. When I stitch the border, I'm going to make sure I get all the squares in before I start filling in, so if there's a problem, I can catch it early. So I said, unfortunately, this one's going in the UFO pile, and I will be slowly tearing some of this out, or I don't know, because it literally means I could get half of this, and I don't really want to display half of it. So that is such a shame, because I really like the color combination. I like the pattern. So I will just push ahead in 2026 with peppermint purple number whatever. So that's my UFO project. And then the rest of these projects are in no particular order other than where they're at in my pile. I am leaving my full coverages for the end. So if that's what you're here for, stick around to the end or fast forward to the end. Just because they're the biggest ones, and so they end up getting into the back. So anyhow, so in November, totally, so quick amount of stats here, I did 22,001 stitches. So literally 22001. Couldn't have timed that better, couldn't have planned that better if I tried. So of those 22,000 stitches, that brings me to how far in the year? So that brings me to 223,758 stitches for the year so far. My goal was to hit 250,000 stitches. Don't think I'm going to make it, but I'm going to do my very best, see how close I can get. So that's how I did in November. So the first project lives in my Gilmore Girls project bag from the Black Needle Society. And it is Satsuma Street's local conditions. This is her temperature chart that she designed last year, and this was actually included in the November box from the Black Needle Society last year. So this, I've discovered I like the concept of temperature charts, but I suck at keeping up with it. So I do have all of the temperatures for my town recorded, but I am still like in April. But I was able to still get a little bit more caught up. So I was able to put in 176 stitches into this month. And there's where I'm up to. So the top row is January and February. And then this is March. And I am almost done with April. So I just have a couple more towers to finish off in April. And then I'll come down here and do May, June. So with this, I think this is going to be a 2026 finish. Simply because I could either stitch or I could record the temperatures. But I found for whatever reason, I just couldn't do both. So the nice thing is that I will have all the temperatures recorded so I can pull all the threads and then just take this with me and stitch. Because part of my problem was recording the temperature, finding the thread, putting the thread back, keeping the thread. What do I do with the thread? So it was just, that was a me thing, the way my brain worked. So, but I do like the colors of this piece and I do like the concept of it. So I will probably do another temperature chart in the future. Oh, and this is on a 18 count Fiber on a Whim from a Gilmore Girls box from Black Needle Society presenting Lorelai Gilmore. So this will be, I'll hopefully have a little bit of this fabric left over for other things. So I'm putting this away for December. I am not even going to, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll finish April. Maybe. But I'm going to start fresh and throw this into my 2026 rotation. And if I get some stitches in December, that's great. If I don't, I'm not going to fuss about it. I am going to make sure I continue to record the temperatures though. So that was my first project. Another project I worked on, speaking of Hawk Run Hollow, I worked on Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. So I am working on this project. I started this in December of last year, so it's nearing its 1 year WIP anniversary. And the concept I'm trying to do is kind of, I borrowed from Nancy the Disorderly Stitcher on Flosstube, where she's doing Hawk Run Hollow, but she's also the way she's doing it, she's taking each square and dividing it into 4 chunks. And then the idea is that each month she does a chunk. So that way she has 4 squares done, or she has a square done every 4 months. So that's the concept I am trying to do. So if I kept up with that, I should have been over here by now, but I fell behind because, life got in the way this year. But I did get most of block 2 done. So here's where I'm currently at. So block 2 just has some finish. I just need to put in the mint thread gatherer for the rest of the snow. But I was able to finish off the rest so that house is done. The peacock is done. That peacock is done. The border, for whatever reason, that dang fence just, made me want to tear my hair out. But it now is almost done. This block will be a finish this month because I am going to finish this in December and start block 3. So that was, I believe, I put in 1,199 stitches. And no, I didn't realize until after that should have just put in an extra stitch. But almost 1,200 stitches on it, where I finished the house, finished all of this house. I finished this little bird guy and all of the little stuff. So all I have to do now is fill it in. So just to show you, since I've got it this way, this is where I'm at total. So I've got block 1 all the way done, and block 2 is just about finished, and block 3 will go next to it. So block 3, I'm hoping, is a December start as part of my Christmas stitching. So you will see that again next month. You usually see this every month because I try to do something every month on it, with the goal of getting 25% of the pattern done, because I charted each square into Pattern Keeper so I can keep track of the percentage rather than just eyeballing a quarter of the square. So then the next project I pulled out was Summer in the Village from Stony Creek. And this is one that is now quickly going into my Whip of Shame category. It had its 6-year whip anniversary. I started this in October of 2019. And it needs to get done. So I have the other 3 seasons to start at some point, but I want to get this one done first. So this is going to be one of my priorities to finish in 2026. And here's where I'm at on it. Kind of see how it goes here. There it is. So let me hold it up here. So here's what it looks like total. Actually, I'll hold it up with this so it's easier to see and the light doesn't get through it. So I have this, and I worked all the way down to here. So I've got one more house that'll go here. But in November, I worked on the trees. And there's, maybe it's just easier to not have that. So then I worked on the trees, and then I started this border at the bottom. Come here. Because there's going to be a quote that goes in this border. So I finally had found the fancy floss that I needed for it. So then in November, I put in 466 stitches in on this. And I said the vast majority of it was getting this tree done. So again, this is probably going to get put away because December is all about Christmas stitching. And this is one of the projects that I am manifesting into existence. It will be finished in December, or in 2026. I refuse to let this hit its 7-year whip anniversary. So that is the goal, is to get this finished before October of next year. Put it back in its project bag. And then another project is one that you see on the regular now that it is football season. This month I worked on, football fleur. So it is a fleur-de-lis for my husband's hometown of New Orleans, and it's a football because we are New Orleans Saints fans. This year it's been kind of rough to be a Saints fan, but you know, you live, you breathe, you go with it. So this is a custom pattern. Well, this is a unique pattern to the New Orleans area. So check out Accents Inc. online, or if you are going to the New Orleans area, they are probably my favorite LNS ever, because they have all these other charts available as well. So with this piece, what I'm doing is I am stitching on it only on Sundays, only while the Saints play. So while the Saints are playing, I'm stitching on this. And in the month of November, try this because I definitely need to. I finished up the outline, and if you can zoom in, I'm also finished with all the white. Hard to see, I think, with the lighting. But I now am at the point where all I have to do is fill in the brown. So to do that, I am using Chocolate Frog from Color and Cotton, and that was a special edition thread in one of the Frogworks boxes from the Black Needle Society. Seeing a theme here? But so in November, I was able to put in, let me see here, 1,091 stitches. So the rest of the season is all fill in. So at least, you know, I'll get something accomplished, even if the Saints, you know, continue their mediocre ways this season. So look for that one again at the end of December to see how much more I got on that. And the hope is that I can have this finished or very close to it by the end of the football season in January. Otherwise, it'll go away until preseason in August. I'll stick that away. Let's see. So then my last two projects, my last two non-full coverage projects that I worked on are also some projects that needed to get caught up on. And this is 324 and 324 the sequel, both from Works by ABC. So I started 324 for Mania in 2024. And I said, oh yeah, you know, I'll get it done before March 24th of 2025. And then it was, no, I'll get it done. I'll kind of start it with my friends Liz and Chloe, who started theirs January 1st of this year, and said that I'll finish it on the 324th day of 2025. Well, that didn't happen. So I'm just, at this point, I am just aiming for a 2026 finish some way, shape, or form. So this is the original version. So this is 324, the original. This is as far as I'm at so far. I'm a little over halfway. And in the month of November, I was able, I think I really only just did these two blocks. There's something missing here because I need to go get the thread for it. I'll tell you, this is one easy pattern to use to figure out which colors of DMC you don't have anywhere in your stash. So this got a whopping 134 stitches. That is pathetically sad. But again, this is one of those things where I do love working on it, but it's like I want to do a lot at once rather than sitting and doing like one thing. I feel like I should just sit in and settle in. So that's probably going to be how I finish both of these pieces, is just at some point just pull the threads and just sit and just, you know, just take a weekend and just sit and have this be the only thing I work on, because doing 1 or 2 blocks a day, it's like, I'm just getting into it now. I got to put it away and do something else. So that's maybe why this didn't get as much done on it. But that's all right. But I did get more done on the sequel version. The sequel version is a black work specialty stitch version. And this is where I'm at totally on it. And in the month of November, I finished up all of these rows. And these are super quick, super easy. So I was able to knock out like all of these columns in a day. But the thing that's frustrating me with this, though, is not the pattern, but my inability to read directions. So this pattern is on 16 count Aida. So when I went and did my cutting out of everything, I said, well, then they've got to be just about the same size, right? So I cut the same size fabric. Guess what? It doesn't fit the pattern. So if I wanted them to be literally the same size, I would have had to make this at least 18 or 20 count. So what I am doing is I'm eliminating the last 2 columns on this side and the 2 rows at the bottom, because if I had kept going, I literally would be ending with maybe ½ inch of fabric left. Not even close to being enough to frame or do anything with. So that is a shame, but on the sequel, I was able to put in 698 stitches in November, so I'll take it. So that is it for my non-full coverage whips. Stick those away. They're in a boring project bag from Amazon, but it does the job. All right, so I worked on 4 full coverage pieces in the month of November. And so the first one was my November only piece. The other ones you've seen, but the first one is one that was called for WIPGO in the month of November. And this is my Amy Stewart's A Stitch in Time, my regular size, regular color version. Those of you who've been around for a while, you know that I'm actually stitching this one twice. I'm stitching the Max Color Supersize version, and I'm stitching the regular size, regular color version. So I was able, so let me just kind of show off where I'm at totally. That's what I do need this for. So this is, I've been working on this one since April of 2020. This was my COVID start. And here's where I'm at total. I've had the first full row done for a while, and then I just kind of slacked off. So this is where I worked on in the month of November. So in the month of November, I was able to put in, set that down before I drop it. I was able to put in 4,169 stitches here. So I now have this whole lady done, and the picnic basket, and the background, and I think that's a little dog, but when I was stitching it up close, I thought it was a loaf of bread. So tell me what you think. Do you think that's a dog, or do you think that's a loaf of bread? Either one would make sense. And I was able to start the book here. So this made me super happy to finally get in some good progress on this, because it had been a while since I had sat down and just made a concerted effort to do any stitches on this, which is sad because I love this piece. So this will be in my rotation again in 2026. I have a full coverage WIPGO board. So each month I'm going to use that to pick the 2 full coverage pieces that I'm focusing on for that month to get as many stitches in as I can. So this will, and actually I think this is also on a quote-unquote whip of shame WIPGO board, because I realized I had so many projects that are now 5, 6, 7+ years old, including this one. So I'm also making that my other WIPGO board next year. So this will get some good progress in 2026, but I'm not going to put any, I need to get so many stitches or a certain percentage in, because that was kind of killing my vibe this year, as I had that pressure of I need to get so many stitches on this project this year, and it didn't. So I'm just, want to get as many stitches as I can on it, but this is not going to be like my focus piece, but this is in another Gilmore Girls bag. So then the next 2 full coverage pieces I am working on for Gridiron Grind. Let me grab those here. So Gridiron Grind is an event through Full Coverage Fanatics from Kim, and I forget what her Flosstube is, but I'll link it down below if I can remember. So she came up with this idea to meld your stitching on full coverage with football. And there are, the only rules are that you make up what works for you. So I selected selected 2 projects for my 2 favorite teams. One is for my New Orleans Saints, and that project is NOLA from Mandy Manzano, charted by Heaven Earth Designs. And so for this project and for the other project, what I'm doing is for every point the team scores, they will get 10 stitches per point. If the quarterback rushes for a touchdown on his own, or if the defense or special teams gets a touchdown, I do 50 points for that, or 50 stitches for that. And if the team wins, that's an extra 100 points. So, unfortunately, because the Saints are not doing very well this season, they've only had 2 wins and they're not scoring a lot of points. Not getting nearly as much progress in as I'd like to. But let me show you. In November, here's where I got to on NOLA. So I was able to put in 824 stitches in, all right in here. So let me see here. I am working now. I think last month when you saw this, I was still over here. This month, I am filling in this part of the magnolia. In a perfect world, I would have this whole row done before the end of the year, but this is not a perfect world, and that's okay, as long as I get stitches in. So, I did 824 stitches, and that was way more stitches than was called for because of the team, but so it's kind of hard to see, but a lot of that is 3865 and 3771, and then I'll bring it over and then bring down the rest of the magnolia and then have the whole top row done finally. But this is one of my favorite pieces, and I know several of you have mentioned before that of all the full coverages that I show off, this is probably one of your favorites, and it's one of mine too. So I will continue to work on this for Gridiron Grind in December and in January, and then once football season is over, this will become part of my WhipGo full coverage board. So it'll see some progress, hopefully more progress than I did with the football team. But my other project is representing the Buffalo Bills, which is my second favorite team. And so again, I'm using the same stitch count for it. 10 points or 10 stitches per point, 100 points for a win, 50 points for every quarterback or special teams touchdown. Well, the Bills have been doing a heck of a lot better, and it's been a rare game where Josh Allen has not run for a touchdown. So I have gotten a lot more stitches in on Old World Map from Art of the Antiquities. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Design. This is my second oldest Haid. So this was a 2019 start. So this is probably also going on my Whip of Shame WhipGo board next year. So you'll see this one a couple times. But so let me show you where I'm at. So I was able to get more of the globe in, and I put in 2,177 stitches in. So I got more of the globe. I've been kind of following the longitude lines a little bit to kind of go diagonal, because I was trying to go like this and just kind of got bored with it. So I'm going down here. And this is actually a fast stitch when I sit down and actually do it. So I've been able to keep up. So this is all caught up with everything except for this past week. So this is something I will probably pull out and work on tonight, because of the Bills' win and the number of points they scored and everything else, I owe this project something like 500 or 600 stitches. So that'll happen this week. So you will see this again in December, and then it'll go into my regular rotation for 2016. And the last project, the one I'm most excited to show you, is my Heaven and Earth Design stitch along piece. So this is Steampunk Portal. It is an AI generated design from L&L Designs, from the ladies from Heaven and Earth Design. I did not realize until recently this was an AI generated pattern, and so I was a little sad because I want my money to go towards the actual artists, but I know that it still went towards a artist in a different form. But I think this will be the only AI pattern I ever do. But this is Steampunk Portal, and I am officially almost done. I am so excited. In November, I put over 11,000 stitches in on this, and all I have left to do, and this includes some stuff I actually did yesterday and today. So the 11,000 doesn't include what I did today, but what you're seeing includes what I've done the last couple days. I am now down to 900 stitches of black left, and that's it. Out of 85,000 stitches, I just have to fill in the black. So this will be a finish this week, and I'm so excited. So the next time you see this, it will be a finish. And since I completed the challenge of doing the whole pattern in a year, I will get all of the patterns that were in the 2025 stitch along, and I will get to pick a free pattern from the website for this year. So I already have an idea of which pattern I want. I've also signed up for the 2026 stitch along, but I'm not going to put in as much focus on it because, first of all, the only reward that I'm really looking forward to is if you finish one page of your project, doesn't matter what page, as long as it's one complete page, then you get an Amy Stewart chart. And those who know me know that I love me some Amy Stewart. So I'm gonna stitch enough to get that. But other than that, instead of picking a free chart from the website, if you finish the whole chart, they're like, hey, you get to pick one of these 2 charts. None of them really stood out to me. I may go to try to stitch all, because if you stitch 6 pages of the chart, of your stitch along chart, then you get all the charts that were part of the stitch along. So since there are some there that I liked, even if some of them are AI generated, my stretch goal may be to just try to get those 6 pages done. But this took up the vast majority of my stitching time in 2025. And I wouldn't say not to the detriment, but there were times where I worked on this and other projects didn't get the love I was hoping to give them. So that's okay, because this will be a finish this week. So be on the lookout on my Instagram page or in my next Flosstube. So those were all the stitches that I put in. Said no new starts, no finishes, but some solid progress on quite a few whips. So December has started. So what you will see from me at the end of December are going to be 2 or 3 different videos. The first one is going to be kind of my Flossmas wrap up, which will I guess maybe would double as my December stitching wrap up, because I am, other than finishing Steampunk Portal, I think the rest of my December stitching is all going to be Christmas related. So I will do a wrap up of what I have stitched Christmas wise. I've got 12 or 13 projects, including a couple new starts. I also will show off the gifts I've gotten from the Black Needle Society's Nice List box. Some people are doing a video a day unboxing. I don't have that kind of time or energy, so I just open them, and then on December 25th, or 26th, I'll film a video and show you all the cool goodies I got there. And I am looking to put together my end of year whip parade, because I now am pushing 65 or 70 whips. And I know for some people you're like, oh, that's not a lot. But for me, that is a lot. I started quite a few new projects in 2025. So 2026, I think, is going to be not a no new start year, but it's going to be a very limited start year. Sorry about that. Camera battery died in the middle of me talking. So I think what I was talking about was my December plan. So I will be I think I already said I'm going to be doing a Flossmas Christmas December wrap-up video in around the 26th or so, and then I'm planning on filming my year-end whip parade, and so be on the lookout for those. 2026 plans right now are still a little fluid. I discovered this year I started off very, very rigid with I'm doing this and this and this and this and this. And the wheels fell off somewhere in February, and I was stressing myself out because I wasn't getting all the stitches in that I wanted to stitch. So I know I'm planning on being a part of Fandom Stitching Central this year. Their challenges are going to be revolving around musicals, which I love. So I will be participating in that. And then I think there's a couple of events with Full Coverage Fanatics that I may use just to help track my progress towards my full coverage goals. And then as far as WIPGO is concerned, I'm planning on only having 2 boards this year, not 4. And one is going to be all my full coverages, so it includes all my HAIDs, and I realize I have some non-HAID full coverages. So I'll get those in. Another WIPGO board is going to be dedicated just to anything that I started before 2020 and earlier, because those, with the exception of the full coverages, all those just got to get done. I'm planning on trying temperature stitching this year, but not like a temperature chart. Like I said, I was having an issue with temperature chart stuff. But doing the temperature stitching, like I think Beckett is doing, and the Runner Stitcher, and a few other people have done, and I like the concept of it. So what I'm going to do is, for each day of the week, I'm going to look at the second digit of the high temperature for the day. So like on Tuesday, I'll look at what Monday's was, and on Wednesday, I'll look at what Tuesday's was, because the predicted high, they change. So I'll look at what the actual one was. And so for, if it ends in a 0 or a 1, I'll stitch on a certain category. If it ends in a 0, if it ends in 2 or 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to work on categories. So I think one category is going to be 2024 starts. One is going to be 2025 starts. Another category I think is just going to be SALs, because, they call them start-alongs, but I need to get some of them done and caught up. And then the last one is going to be frogworts. So I'm got all of my frogworts pieces that I've fallen behind on, and I want to give them some dedicated love as well. So, but with that, like I'll stitch 100 stitches every time it's called for, and then once I hit a certain milestone, whether it's 1,000 stitches or 2,000 stitches, then I'll rotate it out. So that way, once again, my goal is to touch all of my projects at least once in 2026. And as far as new starts go, I'm planning on the Frogworts Year 7 piece, and I believe I have one full coverage piece that I need to finish charting into Pattern Keeper, because it's so old. It's such an old pattern that I have it not digital at all, and it's a retired piece. But I'm planning on starting that one sometime in June. But beyond that, I can't. I've got lots of things that are kitted up, so I may reward myself with some new starts as I get some finishes. So I'm working out kind of a formula system for, what I have to finish in order to earn a new start. So it's probably going to be involve like sizes. So like if I finish one mini, I can start another mini. But if I want to start a small, I got to finish 2 minis. Kind of 2 minis equals 1 small, 2 smalls equal 1 medium, 4 mini. Yeah, it makes sense in my head. And once I kind of finally flesh it out, I'll explain it again and maybe, put a chart somewhere in the video. But right now I'm still kind of working on that, because I need to go through and see for sure what projects I have as whips, which projects are just not carrying into 2026 at all, what the planned starts are, and where those fit into things. So I said I have loose plans this year. I'm pretty much going to let the Whipco boards and the temperature stitching decide what I stitch, but I'm not going to give myself hard and fast, you have to stitch so many stitches on a certain project. I'll save that for fandom. I'll let, fandom help me figure that out. But anyhow, so I think I have rambled on long enough. I want to get stitching, and I know there are so many other floss tubers out there that have put out great content last week, so I know there's a lot on your to watch queue, I'm sure. So, but as always, if you like what you see and you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Give this video a like. It lets me know that I'm on the right track. And also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at walking_in_stitches. So I am Walking in Stitches on Instagram, and I'm the Hiking Stitcher here on Flosstube. All right, and if you made it this far in the video, today's comment fun. Since we're going into the holidays, Christmas time, tell me your favorite Christmas memory. The one thing that just you always associate with Christmas, even if you only did it once. But like if you could go back and do this specific thing again at Christmas time, you would. For me, it was spending Christmas with my grandparents. They passed away, when I was 10 and 11, respectively. They passed very close to each other. But so that time before I turned 10, my grandma cooked an amazing Christmas dinner. We had Christmas Eve at their house and did church and all sorts of really cool stuff. And it's probably the thing that I miss. And, I've tried to recreate the magic as I could, but it just has never quite been the same. So that's probably my favorite Christmas memory. And if I can find a picture or a video clip of a Christmas Eve, I will try to insert it here. But if I can't, just know that, we all have those memories. So tell me your favorite Christmas memory in the comments below. And until we meet again, remember, never let anybody tell you what to do. You just go ahead and stitch your own stitch. Have a wonderful day.